Moms for Liberty really worked miracles.
We have a crisis in America in public education. This is the future of our kids and our country.
You are joyful warriors.
And we are just getting started.
Hello, welcome to the Fire of Liberty show. We're not in our home studio in Florida. As you can see, we are actually on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. This is our travel studio, which seems to be being used more and more often lately. We are here because yesterday the Supreme Court had two major cases, and dozens of our moms drove from, New Jersey and Virginia and Maryland and Pennsylvania and even all the way from North Carolina to come and rally outside the Supreme Court. Alliance Defending Freedom was holding a huge rally outside. They brought together dozens of organizations, and our guest today is going to talk a little bit about that because she was front and center there. If you listen to any of the 3-hour hearing, here's the small takeaway. Our Supreme Court justices spent time once again arguing and debating about what is a woman. And so I just want to say this morning, dear Supreme Court justices of the United States of America, we know an organization full of moms that are experts on what it is to be a woman. And we would be glad to sit down with you and give you a mom lecture about what a woman is, so we could solve this problem and move forward and protect girls and girls' spaces and girls' sports, which is what those court cases were about yesterday. And so now it is time for me to introduce our guest today. As you know, the Fire of Liberty show, we bring frontline warriors to you, those moms and dads that are in this culture war in America. I'm Tina Deskovich, your CEO and co-founder and your host of the Fire of Liberty. And today we have Jamie Hinkle from Fauquier County, Virginia. She is our former chapter chair in Fauquier County, and she works for Moms for Liberty, managing all of our coalition partners. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, about how important it is to build relationships. Welcome, Jamie.
Thanks so much for having me. I love driving to DC 2 days in a row.
Yeah, we were having a conversation, you and I yesterday, and then the gentleman outside this morning, talking about tolls in DC.
Oh, yes.
And how lovely they are.
Yes.
I will say, I asked my Uber driver this morning, what the heck is wrong with everyone? Because people were laying on horns and cars were crossing into different lanes. And so this would be a really good time for me to introduce to everyone. On today's episode, we are going to highlight the swear jar. And it's actually a swear cup because we're not in the office. And so one thing you may not know about me and Moms for Liberty is we have a standing policy of a swear jar. And it sits on Amy's desk in the home office. And anyone that comes in and uses foul language has to put usually $1 for every word. If it's the F word, you got to slip in a 20. And so Jamie tends to sometimes not say nice words. And so, yeah, she puts, Jamie took it to a new level, and she Venmos me every time she swears. And so what dollar amount are we at?
I think I'm at $17.
Oh, that's not that
for
bad.
the year.
It's only January.
I probably owe you.
It's only January.
Not for this year, for the past year. So
yeah,
I did say probably a few things on the way in with all the traffic.
Well, here it is. And so today we decided that if Jamie swears, we're not actually going to have her put money in here, but we're going to ask the audience to donate to Moms for Liberty every time Jamie swears.
Good. We can do a matching. I'll match.
Oh, and Jamie will match.
I'll do a matching.
I love it. It'll be great. So she's in pink, and she's sweet, and she's beautiful, and she works so hard, and she's a warrior for liberty, but she may talk like a sailor sometimes. And so we're working on her with that. And I have the swear jar to help her be mindful this episode to keep her language clean.
Thank you.
And if you don't, Moms for Liberty might benefit.
They will.
So
100%.
It's good.
They already are.
Yeah. So you were at the rally yesterday. I was only able to get there towards the end, but you were there. It's like a 6-hour rally or something.
I did. I showed up with Scarlett Johnson, our social media manager, at 9, and it was already. I mean, there was already so many people there. AFPI was hosting a pre-conference press conference or pre-summit. Press conference, and it was incredible. I just think it's always so great to see the people come out to support common sense. I really resonated with Riley Gaines's message that she was irritated that she even needed to be there.
Yeah, she's got a new baby. She's a young mom, and she has to travel to D.C. to go rally in 40-degree weather outside the Supreme Court.
It's great to see the dads step up to say, They have daughters, that there absolutely is no way that they would be okay with boys or men in their daughters' locker rooms. I have 3 daughters, so that brought me out yesterday. And then obviously just to, I think there's something to be said about like uniting around an issue like this, where it's shouldn't be an issue at all. And so hopefully our Supreme Court upholds protecting women's sports and our daughters, and always a counter protest. So that's always super interesting to see who comes out to support, insanity.
I think we had some remarkable, or I would say, people that you wouldn't necessarily think were supporting protecting girls' spaces and girls' sports yesterday show up. I saw some signs out there. It said LGB for safe women's spaces,
yes.
Right? And so,
yeah, like I think feminists for democracy.
Yeah.
There was it really is incredible. It seems like a super easy issue to come together on.
It is. So it's polling at 85%. So whether you're pro-choice or religious or not, all of the different things, still 85% of Americans believe girls should have girls-only sports and girls-only bathrooms and girls-only locker rooms.
See what we can do in the next year to get that 15% over the line.
I know. Who are those 15% of people?
Let us know in the comments.
Yeah. And so, are you one of them?
Are you one of them?
Please comment below. And just so people that might not know, it's 2 cases that rose to the Supreme Court yesterday out of Idaho and West Virginia. Yeah. And these brave young girls. So I was at the gala dinner last night with Alliance Defending Freedom. And it was really, I think I was texting you during it. It was so beautiful. They honored not just the girls on this specific cases, but all of the cases that they're representing across the country. It was probably about 30 young women. Yeah. They brought them up on stage, standing ovation for them. And it was hard not to feel emotional, especially after hearing some of their stories. And some people make flip comments like, oh, they just got bumped off the podium, poor thing. Like I hear the nasty comments, right. But when you heard some of those stories last night, one of the moms was talking about her daughter was 15 and there was a boy on the team that had been changing with them for that whole school year. And she didn't find out till the end of the school year that male student pretending to be a female was coming up to her daughter often, like whispering in her ear over the shoulder, I'm going to put my...
Oh my God.
Yeah. Like she started, she was telling the story and you could just see the mom, like.
Right. Probably the hurt in her face. I mean, I have a 15-year-old. I can't imagine not knowing for months on end that was going on. Mm-hmm. It was incredible yesterday. Alexa Anderson was there. So she spoke at our, so she came with her mom. So I think I met her mom briefly at Summit, but from Oregon to speak. And I think you just have to remember that these are real girls who are experiencing this in their communities in a place that they thought probably the adults in the room would protect them. Mm-hmm. And that didn't happen. And so just, I think talking to them, empowering them, thanking them for being brave enough. I don't know if I would have been brave enough at, 15, 16, 17 to certainly come out and in my own community, but get up on stage and try to share their testimony. And so it's just, I don't know, rallying together to support them it's one of my favorite parts of the position that I'm in and with Moms for Liberty and just being a chapter chair is seeing it.
It's so crazy. I was blessed to sit at the table last night with 2 of the girls and their parents, and I made sure, like, thank you for your courage, but both of them have just finished college. They've been in this
right
their entire sports career, I'll say, not that they're professional athletes, but from 15 to now 21, they've been fighting to get boys out of their spaces. And so they never really had a normal,
right,
healthy, athletic experience. And shame on adults for allowing this to happen and to put them in this position and circumstance. But the whole situation has built strong warriors. Like the one gal sitting next to me has chosen to go into journalism. She got a journalism degree because she wanted to cross her passion for English and language with her activism. Right. And so, she wanted to lean into the journalism degree. And the other gal, we talked for a while, and she said, I never could have done this without my mother. And then the other daughter chimed in and said, oh yeah, without my mom, I couldn't, and then of course I'm like, oh yeah.
I know, right, already I'm like,
Yeah. And so it's just, last night was a remarkable evening celebrating all those that have been
I do
fighting.
think about those, experiences for them that came out of, kind of rising from the ashes of their experience, their, being able to be at last night's, gala with ADF. They've, spoken at our summit in front of hundreds of moms and dads. They're ambassadors for XXXY. They're just, I don't know. There's something to be said about, standing in truth and having the courage, and, maybe other girls are coming forward because they're hearing their stories.
That was Adeline, is that her name? One of the girls last night. She was saying on stage that she stood up because of the gal that was sitting at my table. She saw her stand up, and she said, I couldn't be quiet any longer because I saw her standing alone and I knew it was wrong. And so that helped her have courage.
Don't you think that's crazy? That's happened. I mean, like that, it took me until I was 38. Really, I mean, these girls are doing that.
I
now.
was
Gives me
so
a lot of hope.
inspired last night. And so many of our partners were there. So Jen Say, I heard her speak at the rally yesterday. So powerful, throwing out her XXXY hats, and the energy always like
always
top
the
of the line.
best.
And then on that stage last night, Allie Beth Stuckey was there talking about the role that the churches and pastors, like she was not mincing words about pastors that are not willing to stand for truth. And she said pastors, say, well, we don't want to be political. And she was like, I wish I could quote her exactly. I want to go find the clip, because she's like, this is not political. You don't want to stand for the Bible. Like, you don't want to stand for biblical. And I'm like, ooh, yeah, she's not wrong.
She's not wrong.
That was great. Megan Kelly moderated.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And it was just that. And then Kristen Wagner from ADF was on stage with two of the moms. And it was just so powerful. And I could just feel, I could also see Moms for Liberty just intermingled with it all. Megan Kelly was our very first event after we launched, and Jen Say's a huge partner of ours, and ADF a huge partner of ours, and so it just, I had all these emotions last night of pride for these girls, so proud of the people standing with them, and attorney generals that were fighting were there, and they were honored, and then just thinking about all of our moms across the country and their court cases and their daughters that have stood up, and it was quite a day.
A culmination of a lot of
It's good.
passion, time, effort, hope.
It's good. Okay.
Awesome.
So let's get into you, which you love to talk.
love that.
You love to talk about you. I will tell everyone that this has been my most apprehensive guest ever on the Fire of Liberty show. At first, I think she declined, and then she asked why, and then she didn't respond, and then I forced her here, I guess.
I think I sent Amy a text that was more like, okay, hold on, pause. You'd have at least one conversation before I say yes to this. But I think you're used to that by now.
Yeah. And I just kept telling Amy, leave her booked. She'll be there.
She'll come around.
She's just got to get there. And so that was way fun. But I do want to talk about you, because you have an important role with Moms for Liberty. You have the experience of being a chapter chair, and you live, breathe, and die, I'll say, one of Moms for Liberty's we only have 3 values, and it's we stand for truth, which we talked about in the first 10 minutes of the show. And the second one is building relationships. And we have understood that from early on, that we needed to build relationships with our elected officials. And so you've experienced doing that when you were a chapter chair, but you've brought that really alive to the organization, because I say it, and I'll say it publicly, we really weren't that good of partners the first couple years, because we just were trying to stay alive and figure out and grow and do. Right. And so by bringing you on almost a year ago now to do this, I love where our organization has gone. So what do you do for Moms for Liberty?
So I work as a coalitions coordinator, but really I would think it's more of a partnership manager.
We need to change your title.
I know. We need to work on that. So when I was asked, you called me, I think I've told you this story before, you called me in the summer of 2024, and I told you that sometimes I would see your name on my phone and I would be like, oh, what is she? I would be like, damn it. I'll hit
she said it. Hold on. So go to momsforliberty.org/donate. The D word is $1. Can you donate $1? You might have to do 5. There might be a minimum. You have to do 5. Every time Jamie swears, momsforliberty.org/donate $5. So there's one.
But it's true. I did say it, and I answered, and you asked me to be the speaker coordinator.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, at Summit. And so that I think that catapulted me into that sphere, right, of working with these organizations and our speakers, and really having to kind of steward those relationships with them hear their feedback and their experience, and kind of giving feedback to you after about what we could do better, or what I saw, and how maybe other ways that we weren't just having a transactional relationship with them, that we could be more intentional throughout the year, whether that was trainings with chapter chairs, or, education or resources, events. And so here we are.
Yeah. And so for those that don't know Jamie, she likes to give a lot of recommendations and point out where you're broken. And so you were doing that basically, but I appreciated it because I
like to say more of a what if we tried?
She's much nicer about it than I'm making it sound. But really, you're pointing at weaknesses. You're pointing at, and you have solutions, which is what I like. I don't like when people are like, you're horrible, you're doing everything wrong, and they've got no
this isn't working.
Yeah, there's no help. There's no help there. You always, this is not working. You're not treating these partnerships. You're not strengthening these partnerships to be mutually benefit and to help the organization to really expand in a meaningful way.
Well, and I think there's so many organizations and people that we work with that are great at what they do. And so bringing them closer really only is going to, help our chapter chairs. It's going to strengthen us, our relationships across the country, because they are, they're everywhere. Yeah. We probably work with organizations in almost every state. And so really focusing there and having then those really going into this year is more of collaborative meetings on where we can work across our organization with theirs, whether it's legislatively, again, education. I think that's such a huge part of it, or
it's a force multiplier when you build these relationships. So we're growing and wonderful, but if you then tap into 5 other organizations that are also growing and strong, you've now tapped into their resources and tools. And so I just love what you've done for the past year. You're doing an excellent job at it. Why is it important to our organization to have strong coalition partners? Why can't we just be on a silo and do our own thing all the time?
Well, I can tell you I tried that locally. So going back into starting the chapter, I was a Moms for Liberty member starting in April of 2021. So kind of OG.
Yeah, earlier on.
Just seeing the Navy shirts at the school board meetings and the web, everything online, and news conferences and press releases, and so kind of just followed along, and that was really when I started getting into asking the questions about my kids' educational experiences, and questions and more questions, and
you can't stop. You're peeling the layer back.
You can't stop. I'll pull one question away, and was connecting with people, local moms and parents who felt the same about things that were going on, and we created a Facebook group, and we would get so far, and then it would kind of stop and stifle and then go. And so really when I applied to launch the chapter of Moms for Liberty, I wanted to cast a wider net, a network of people that were doing the same things that I was doing locally, asking the same questions, had the same focuses. And so I think even there, that leads into the organizations and our partners. Why wouldn't you cast a wider net? Because becoming a chapter chair helped me so much. One, because I was connected to people who were in the same fight, that had the same values. And that I have multiple group threads and chats and video apps that I won't name because they might not want to be associated with us, to stay connected. And we run ideas by each other. We share articles and hardships and, wins. But really just the connection of all of us. And so in that, I think that's been, if I could do it successfully locally, why wouldn't we try to do it?
So you say you could do it successfully locally. What do you mean? When you were a chapter chair, how did you build relationships successfully? I think there's probably some lessons here for other, especially new chapters.
Even before I was a chapter chair, and I was, sending emails by the dozens, and our previous superintendent, I think he was probably just deleting them or moving them into a spam box. I've told this story before, but our deputy superintendent at the time, I think he was tasked with me. He's like, "What are we going to do with this?
You're
this
in charge.
Mom? Yeah,
you're in charge of Moms for Liberty."
Yeah, but even before Moms for Liberty, you're just in charge of this mom. She's
you were one of those. You were got
a file folder of red flags and questions and all of these issues I was seeing. And so that was our first meeting, and kind of happened simultaneously to having our first meeting and then launching the chapter. It started all at the same time, and I just really stayed the course. I took a lot of meetings, had a lot of conversations just like this across the table about what I was seeing and what my kids were experiencing, and I didn't yell at anyone.
Did you
I did not
swear at anyone?
I did not swear at any of them. I just said, like, these are the things I'm seeing. Like, what are we going to do about it? And a lot of the feedback was like, well, we didn't know. And it's like, well, now you do. And so
what are you going to do about it?
what are we going to do about it? And we can figure it out together. And they were really honest. So I think, now one of my closest friends is our school board. She's now the vice chair.
It's great.
It's crazy.
It's a great story.
It is a great. In the last, we went from me probably sending an email with 100 different angry parents on it to,
For being a close friend.
And really it just came through that transparency and mutual trust that I don't think any of these people are getting elected, especially in my county, to harm kids, but to, have conversations and see what we could do to fix. And we had success. And it didn't look like a win at first, maybe. But
What's it look like? Because how people define wins is they can check the box of policy created, law passed. Like what do you mean it was a win that didn't look like a win?
I think Moms for Liberty is also kind of known for acknowledging content in our libraries that we don't love. And we tried it one way and got a lot of pushback. And so we went the other way is, well, what if we created a library notification policy that just in real time let parents know what their kids were checking out? The parents have to also be a part of.
Right, they've got to do their part of checking the
part.
notification system to see.
So we had a list of books that in the beginning it was added to our registration. They could opt in or opt out of.
It's wonderful.
And then the library. So I still to this day I get anytime my kids are in the library and they check out a book, real time notification.
It's great. So it doesn't have to be war.
It does not have to be war.
It does not have to be war, and I agree with that. So I served on a school board, as you know. There was a Democrat and an independent. And I think the following, after 2 years, it might even been 2 Democrats. I don't know, whatever. Not everybody thought the same, basically.
Right.
And so we had a great relationship, a great cordial relationship. We did not agree, obviously, on things, but we could have discussions, debates, and find some common ground, sometimes agree to disagree. But it's so important. And most people that are going to give time, especially in places where it's not a paid position and you're just doing it for the love of your community, like they're probably in it because they care. And not everyone, not all the time. Obviously, there's bad apples and bad actors that are in it for themselves, for the glory of being a school board member, which is hilarious in itself. But most people are in it for good reasons.
Right, and that was the same thing. So same thing when SEL came, they wanted to implement it in middle school social emotional learning curriculum. We all know that social emotional learning is not bad, but the curriculum part of it. And same thing, send in information, ask for committee. They didn't end up voting it down, but they took it off the table for a conversation. They ended up, hiring other counselors, which we supported because it should be for the kids that need it.
That's a win that's hard to point to. It's not a huge policy win, but you slowed something down. You got it pulled from the agenda. In school board world, that's actually a really big deal.
Right.
Or maybe it never even made it to the agenda. And I would say that, so when I lost my school board race and I was replaced by a radical liberal, all these things started appearing to be voted on that didn't make it because guess what? I was on the school board. And so the superintendent's not a dummy, right? Most of them PhDs. He's like, oh, I could put this up, but one school board member is going to throw a stink. I don't want to deal with it right now, all the things. And so stuff not making it to the agenda is a win. And so I believe, and I know that I'm right here, the stuff does not make it to the agenda if they know Moms for Liberty is even in the community.
It's true.
Right? Because I know they pause and they're like, because I was on a school board and Moms Demand Action used to come and
at least
harass
they know
us.
It's not going to be easy.
Yeah, well, and I would pause and I'd be like, oh, something security's coming on the agenda. Moms Demand Action's going to show up. What can I expect? Are there going to be 1,000 protesters? Is it just going to be 2 of them a little upset? Like you gauge it. And it's the same thing with us. It's I can't remember where the chapter launched. It was like 2 years ago. And the chapter chair was telling me that she went to her meeting and said, I'm the new chapter chair, Moms for Liberty is launching in our county. And the superintendent came up after the meeting and said, are we going to have problems? Right.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, I'm here to work with you and make education better. And so, but there is a real panic out there among superintendents.
100%. I mean, I think there's like that watchdog feeling of it for sure. That the deputy superintendent became the superintendent, which was great for me and
you've been building that relationship.
Great for the relationship that I've been building. I just think there's, just a lot of conversations to be had. One of the biggest things I think I'm most proud of is he created a family focus group. So a parent to be from each school or potentially from each school, to serve on a focus group throughout the year to talk about issues and programs and things. And so just creating that space for conversation. So
important. We had a superintendent in my county, Democrat, pretty darn liberal, I would say. We became very good friends. I actually just talked to him this past week again, and he's out working in the nonprofit world now. And he checks in every now and then. But his ability to bring our community together, a very red county, we hired a Democrat superintendent. And I'll never forget. So I am a member of the Republican Liberty Caucus of Florida, which is by far like the most right organization in the area. And he came to me one day and he's like, I want to come speak at your Liberty Caucus that you're a member of. And I was like, they really don't like you. I don't think you want to come do that. Right. That is not a safe place for you. He's like, what's going to happen to me? Are they,
Right.
I was like, well, they're just going to pepper you with nonstop questions about taxes. You're like, they don't, like, you guys don't agree. And he said, no. I want to come speak at the Liberty Caucus. He stood there, he took it, he answered the questions, he talked to them. They agreed on absolutely nothing. The relationship was built.
Right, because he showed up.
You were not afraid to show up. You are a leader in this community of the biggest employer in our county with the largest budget, and you should have the courage to go talk to everyone.
Absolutely.
Such a good leader. Anyway, good example. And if there's any superintendents or principals out there, like, it's so important. Reach out across the aisle, all around. Community's community, no matter if you're a registered Republican or a registered Democrat.
Yes.
Building all kinds of relationships in this conversation today. So let's move on from building relationships to another part of your job, which I'm not sure how you landed this part. Like, there's only so many people that work at Moms for Liberty, so sometimes we do multiple jobs. So America 250 or Freedom 250, whatever we want to call it, we're calling it Celebrate 250. The anniversary of the 250th birthday of the United States of America is this year. And right now, that's your job.
That's my job.
And so what does that look like? First of all, why? Why should we make a big deal about it? What should we be doing as America? Like, what? Who cares, right?
I mean, I care because I live here in America.
Yeah.
And I have 3 daughters who are, potentially growing up and living here in America. I think we've shared a little bit more about our why and things. And so my dad was in the Air Force for 20 years. He was a survival instructor, and then he worked for the government. And he loved America, a very, country, self-sacrifice family, do hard things when you are called to do them. And our country has persevered because of that, because of great men and women who have been willing to stand up and fight for it. So if we want to preserve America for another 250 years, I think the fight is going to look a lot different. It already has, but celebrating it, the hardships and the patriotism and loyalty, I think, is important. And so
your dad, I know that he has passed, but I don't know when. And so did he know anything about what your activism now?
No, I don't think he knew that I was a difficult person, 100%. An opinionated,
Sir, I can concur.
Yeah, a difficult, opinionated person. He died 10 years ago in December, and he had a lengthy battle with colon cancer. But when he was diagnosed, I want to say in 2007, they gave him 18 months to live, and he lived 8 years. So, like, we're just not we don't go easily.
Sounds like a Hinkle to me.
Yeah.
You're not going to tell me what to do. You can't tell me 18 months.
So I think I probably get that fighting spirit from him, that asking questions and trying to figure out what we can do. Yeah. And, taking up space and saying, like, well, this isn't working.
What do you think he thinks about the work you're doing?
I hope he would be proud. Yeah. And more than anything, the things that he did were, I get really lucky. He was able to walk my oldest daughter to kindergarten. It was like a goal of his. And so part I know of his story was just when he was overseas, he did multiple tours, was, just, again, preserving that, like, the right for our kids to get on a school bus and go to school in a school where they are being taught, in English about America and standing up for the flag and
truth history.
Yep. Yeah. So I think you'd be proud.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah, I would think so. Like you said, the fight looks different than the fight did for him. Every generation has a fight for freedom.
Absolutely.
We have that banner that says that, welcome to ours.
That's right.
Here we are.
And I'm very close to my mom. I have a sister, so, they're a part of it. Probably in little different ways, not as in the front.
I haven't seen them at Moms for Liberty
I know.
activities.
I know. That's how I kind of temperature check things that I'm, that we're doing is what would call them to get out of their comfort zone? Like, what would they get off the sidelines for and the bench for? So
that's a good gauge, probably. It's hard to get
right?
people.
Because they're like-minded. They believe all the same things I do. But what would they be willing to stand in a public forum and just proclaim, or even send an email, like, Coach, my sister, one of her sons is in a private school, one is in public school, to say, like, you can ask questions, you don't have to take this, like, you can do this.
Ask questions.
Ask the questions.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody better at that than you.
Thank you.
So everybody should ask questions. So America 250,
Yes.
Celebrate 250. Tell everyone that's listening some of the things that Moms for Liberty has planned to celebrate this year.
We have a lot of plans in Moms for Liberty for
Always,
celebrating
with everything.
Always for everything. I know one of them is through our Moms for Libraries program. We're publishing 2 books that are going to be in the...
You hear that, guys? 2 more books are on their way. These ones are for the age range more of like 8 to 12.
Like a preteen kind of adventure series that's going to go into, just, I think, loving America,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
Celebrating America and...
The mom in the book, it's 2 like preteens, and the mom in the book is a museum curator. And so it's, I don't know. I think it's going to be,
a little, like a shout out to our founding mothers.
Teaching kids true history through these books, with adventure, so they're not bored. And finally, some information to introduce them to our founding mothers.
Right.
And so these are the first 2 in hopefully a long series of books. And so
which Moms for Liberty honors through our summit and our awards. And so that's going to be great.
It's a perfect fit. It's exciting. Yeah. So that is one thing we're doing for Celebrate 250. What else we got going on?
We are going to relaunch our Madison meetup program.
Woohoo!
Yes. So I know this. Many people out into, in the world might know that we start every one of our meetings with a Madison Minute, a quote.
What's a Madison Minute, Jamie?
A quote from a founding mother or father that we can kind of relate to what's happening today. And so, I don't know if it's secret, but we can. I think we can announce that we're looking at having a Madison Minute book produced.
A book and a workbook.
Written, yes.
Excuse me. To accompany the relaunch of the whole Madison Meetup program,
which started out of
my living room.
Yeah, out of your living room, about what were the founding documents, kind of dissecting them. I always go back to Marie, our previous executive director of programs, her speech in Tampa.
Excellent speech that she gave about what the difference between liberty and freedom.
Right, and how liberty is the moral compass of how you use your freedom.
Yeah, I think she may say something in there like the liberty is you choosing what you really should choose, what you ought to choose.
It's like the righteous, the
moral
path.
The righteous path of using your freedom.
And I think yesterday's rally was a perfect example of that. Like, we had the freedom to be there, and on one side we're supporting and rallying around truth, and boys are boys and girls are girls, and protecting spaces. And on the other side, you had this, I think Marie called it like chaotic version of freedom, where they were waving their flags, and the tallest men I've ever seen were in lipstick and heels. And
oh my goodness. So we might need to go pull that video and put it in the comments here. Yeah. Marie's Liberty versus Freedom speech. That was probably one of the best speeches given.
I loved it.
It was first year summit right out the gate. And
I listened. I don't listen to it often because that would be kind of weird. But but I do think about it. I think about like what is liberty? Why do I do this? It's just it's a choice.
Yeah, excellent. So hopefully we'll put that in the comments and give Marie a big shout out for that speech. That some of the feedback after that first summit, like all the favorite speeches, and we had Governor DeSantis. We had Ashley Moody, our senator. We had Allie Beth Stuckey.
Yes.
There were many comments that said their favorite speech was Marie's Liberty.
Yeah,
versus
I think it
freedom, so.
resonated with a lot of us. Why we were even there in the first place.
Yeah, it was great. So what else do we have going on for
And
the
then-
Celebrate 250?
And then this is really exciting. A lot of our summits and events are on the East Coast, and we going back in our conversations were, how do you bring this from? We have some jokes with our group chat about one of, I'm in Virginia, Kit's in Maryland. We have Jen Turner in Iowa, and then Rebecca is in California. So sea to shining sea. And what would that look like, to celebrate America? If we're really going to celebrate America, we have to celebrate it from coast to coast. So,
yep. And at Moms for Liberty, we like to go all in on things. And so what are these Sea to Shining Sea events? Tell us about them, Jamie.
So on May 2nd, we have our exclusive event at Ellis Island.
Yep. Guys, you hear that? Ellis Island, New York. Moms for Liberty has, in partnership with American Journey Experience, because this is us partnering and building out. And with Glenn Beck himself, he is partnering with us also. We have reserved all of Ellis Island, New York for May 2nd. So it's exciting. It's really exciting. Okay. Tell us some more.
Super exciting, because then the more we're talking about these, like we found out from the 917 Society, I'm not going to share too much, but they want to recreate George Washington's walk to the St.
Patrick's
Cathedral, I think. Don't quote me on that. But just having all these different organizations are also celebrating America and our 250th anniversary, and so bringing again just a celebration. And then
I think this is going to be, like, in my opinion, the biggest, most extravagant, awesome celebration of America is the Ellis Island event, or the Sea to Shining Seas in general. The Ellis Island is. The American Journey Experience is going to bring museum items, artifacts, and set up there. You have the Ellis Island Museum, which has it's historical artifacts and such.
I think my my great granddad, when he was like 8, we went to New York City when I was in 6th grade, and his name is on the
oh good, you'll be able to see it again.
Right. Isn't it crazy?
All of my family except for one branch came through Ellis Island, so I don't have these deep American roots really. My earliest one was 1803, so the rest of them came through Ellis Island. And so it is my heritage. It is my family. I am excited about being in there. We're going to have a beautiful formal black tie gala. We're working on some pretty great musicians, and David Barton is going to be there. Tim Barton's going to be there. Suzanne and JP, the executive directors of Mercury One, also playing a role. And we are going to, there's going to be a lot of stuff we're going to unfold over the next, it's 108 days or something away. I know, it's like time to launch the program.
Right.
At the end of the night, how are we ending the night?
Fireworks.
Yeah.
Show. How do you celebrate America?
Fireworks over the Statue of Liberty. So it's going to be a great night. We hope you guys will consider joining us. The web address is actually, you can go to momsforliberty.org/America250. It'll then reroute you to Moms for Liberty's foundation, because all of this programming is going to be under our 501c3, the foundation. We hope that you guys will.
We didn't even talk about the second event.
Yeah, for sure.
On June 6th.
Yes.
June 6th
so
in
it's
San Diego.
C to C. So we got one C.
Right.
Tell me about the other C, Jamie.
Yeah, San Diego on the USS Midway on D-Day.
Yeah.
So
amazing. Also incredible. All in.
Yeah, and I know our West Coast chapter chairs and members are super excited, and I don't know, Sea to Shining Sea.
Sea to Shining Sea. We're also getting a fireworks show at the end of the night. We're working on musicians. We've got Glenn Beck for that one also. I was somewhere here in DC yesterday asking for some other people.
Maybe somebody
folks,
you know that's in DC.
To maybe want to be there. So we've just, you know us, go big or go home. And so for America's 250th birthday, we are going big.
That's right.
And so it's also going to be out of reach for some folks. This is the highest level black tie event we've ever put on in partnership with these other organizations. So we're working now with Glenn Beck's team to have this streamed in some capacity across the country. And, we'll do some kind of watch parties and things too. So that actually has a huge potential to grow into a whole nother thing that we're working on.
Perfect.
But at a
That's
minimum,
what we
we'll make sure
are
it's
good at.
streamed, and we'll do it in a way that everyone can participate and be part of
Right.
it too.
Absolutely.
So that is America 250 celebration. And I'm excited about that. And so we're going to wind down this episode a little bit here, talking a little bit more about you, your why, and then we'll go into the final question, which you don't like. And you only swore once, so I only got to ask for donations once, which is totally disappointing. So if you could work in a semi-bad word.
No.
Your why.
My why.
Your why. So you started a chapter. You've been in this for probably 5 years. You started in April. So April will be 5 years even since your chapter started. And you were doing this a little bit before then. So
Well, right. So I joined Moms for Liberty online in April of 2021. I launched my the chapter launched in the end of May of 2022.
Oh, it took you a long time.
I did, because I kept getting close. Like, I felt like I was making progress.
Oh my gosh, she takes us so long to make decisions, including even coming on this podcast.
I think I started and then I got like a meeting with our school board. And then I was like, okay, I can do this on my own, but you can't. So that was probably another damn it.
Oh,
Damn it.
yes.
Yep.
Look at that. Swear jar, momsforliberty.org
That's right.
/donate now, I think is the thing.
We can do it.
You need $5 for every time Jamie swears. That's the second one. Thank you.
We'll turn it into 20.
Okay.
And so again, I just, I connected with people. We were going to meetings, we're going to the school board. We were seeing the insanity of COVID, which I'm not going to even go into, but I remember one meeting specifically where we were in the cafeteria at a school, and we had all walked in and sat down, and most of the school board was, in masks. And at a certain point in time, they told us, if you're not wearing a mask, you have to go, and pointed over, and it was across this red line. And so we begrudgingly took our chairs and dragged them across the floor and sat on this side of the line. And
COVID doesn't happen on that side of the line.
no,
only on this side
totally
of the line.
safe over here. And so, and then you find your people in that, because if anyone's gonna get up in the middle, drag their chair over with you, you're like, all right, come on. And so, of course, I'm still very, close to those women too. But I kind of, I blazed a different trail because I just kept showing up to all the things, probably to the detriment of my family for a little bit, but to the school board meetings, to PTO meetings, to...
Why? Why?
Why? Oh, the why.
The why. Yeah, why?
Well, I have 3 daughters, so I think they're always my why, 100%. And I think it's our civic duty.
Yeah.
I truly do. I think that we've gotten slightly complacent as a society, and really because of the things that I've done, which really haven't been all that extraordinary at all, outside of...
According to who?
Well, right.
I'd say they're extraordinary.
But having conversations, sending emails, asking for meetings, and just continually showing up and being there, it moved the needle enough to keep moving the needle and to have some real change happen. And so I guess my why is why not? Why wouldn't you?
That is so classic you. Your why
true,
is
but
why not?
Why wouldn't you? And in any situation, I think I sent you a text last night that I wasn't really happy with the size of the American flag that's been hanging in our gym at our high school. I'm like, this could be bigger. And just talking about it. And finally I emailed our athletic director, and I was like, I'm going to buy a flag. What can I do? How do I get it to you? And he said, well, we can run it through the boosters and this. And I go, I'm going to donate a flag. And I did. And I walked into the gym last night, and it was hanging up. It was a beautiful 6x10 American flag. And so it wasn't a huge thing, but it was just something that I saw, and I heard from other people who made comments about it before. We would go to all these other schools, around our region, and they're like, look at that flag. It's so big.
And your school didn't have a
We
big
didn't have
flag.
it. So now they do. And I think in that, everyone's passion isn't going to be education, and that's okay, because my passion, falls within our space perfectly, which is why I landed here. But for any of it, for getting out the vote or for door knocking, or if your kids play sports, help out with boosters. I mean, it's really just what we talked about, which is do anything.
Do something.
Do something. Whether it's, we've had to have a lot of parents step up in our county because there is a teacher shortage. Some of them, they've stepped up to be coaches for their kids' teams. And that's a choice because it's hard work.
Mm-hmm.
It's time consuming. It's not very, it's kind of thankless in a lot of ways. And
It's a sacrifice.
It's a
always.
sacrifice, 100%.
A few years ago, somebody in church said, you make anything sacred by sacrificing. It's the same root word. And I think about that all the time. If you're sacrificing your time or your money on whatever you're sacrificing your time and money on, you're making it sacred. And so what do you want to make sacred in your life? Is it your children? Is it your family? Is it your country? Is it your community? Or is it a Netflix show and an addiction somewhere in a bar? Or, are you making that sacred? Not that you can't ever do anything a little bit frivolous,
fun.
But where are you where are you really spending your time? Where are you sacrificing your time, your money, your talents? And
I think it's been interesting too. I was a stay-at-home mom. Like I started a photography business 13 years ago, which was really kind of part-time, but it was a passion hobby project that has still, I've kept on my plate, but my husband works out of our home, but he's, the main breadwinner, but like his support, I think we've had tons of moms within our organization whose husbands have probably had to step up in ways that they probably never
including Monty Floyd, who has to be the chapter chair when Kara gets pregnant or has a baby, or they are in the fight too.
They've had to step up for my husband today was making lunches and dropping my kids off to school. And not that he wouldn't do that anyway, but
my husband learned how to do dishes when I started and laundry. He had never done laundry.
Right. There is some sacrifice in the sacredness of that for to me to do this work. And no, I'm not out fighting wars or saving democracy in the way that I think it was probably historically looked at. But I think there's something to be said about just showing up in the ways that we can locally. I mean, I really, truly believe in just being present, like where you are.
Love it. I think that is a perfect ending, except there's always the final ending question. And what does it mean to you to be a joyful warrior?
A joyful warrior. I think I really am going to stick with just the continuation of showing up, right? And it doesn't mean that you're going to be happy.
Wait, but what does it mean to be a joyful warrior?
I think it's in like the it's not a sprint we talked about, right? Like I think you can be joyful in just the continuation of being present. I have a smile on my face right now
because you know what you're saying is ridiculous. Showing up not joyfully is not a joyful warrior. Just showing up is like part of it, but you have to be joyful.
Well, I think there is like overly joyful, right, and happy, and then I think there's showing up and not being unjoyful.
Okay, all right. So a joyful warrior to Jamie Hinkle is not being unjoyful.
That's right.
It's just neutral.
Listen. It's like the balance, right?
The neutral is as good as sometimes is as good as it can get, and that's okay too.
I did. I got the Debbie Downer award on our group Marco the other day. I was like, I'm gonna take it with honor.
Well earned.
Well earned. I'm like, I'm still gonna show up to work tomorrow and go to basketball games. And I drove in the other night listening to a school board meeting. I don't ever think I would have imagined that my whole entire life, that I would have listened to a school board meeting on my road trip in, but here we are.
It's a whole new world for all of us, I would say. So we're going to wrap it up there. This was Jamie Hinkle. She works for Moms for Liberty. She manages all of our coalitions and partners. She is amazing, mom of 3, the former chapter chair of Fauquier County, which she's considering revisiting that, I hear. So if you're in Fauquier, reach out to Moms for Liberty through momsforliberty.org. Jamie swore 2 times on the show. So go to momsforliberty.org/donate and put in $5 each time she swore. So put in $10, she'll match that with $20.
Yep.
I would love to send her a big bill by the end of the day today. And so we are grateful that you are watching the Fire of Liberty show. We're live every week, all on our socials. You can catch it later on Apple and Spotify. I'm Tina Alina Deskovich, the CEO and co-founder of Moms for Liberty, the host of the Fire of Liberty, and we will see you next week.